And welcome tonight. This is Tim Young, uh, and this is Chewy's Road to Enlightenment. I have Ronzo the Beast Cartwright on with me from Stone Deep
Yeah.
Nashville. What is going on?
Hey man, I'm chilling down here in the Ville, man. How you feeling?
We're doing good. We're doing good. We have nice weather up here. Got some positive energy going, and things are just going good, brother.
Right on. That's cool.
Yeah, man. So I want to thank you for coming on here and doing this. This is a podcast I do. I'm just me doing it. Nothing crazy. And yeah, this is Chewy's Road to Enlightenment. Let's. I want to start off asking you, where were you born? Where were you raised?
Well, this is a little crazy. I'm an actual Nashvilleian, which is not that many of us. It's like there's a lot of transplants and stuff down here.
Okay.
So I was born and raised in Nashville, Tennessee. A lot of people don't know that back in the day, before the Predators and the football stadium and all that, it just used to be ghettos all the way downtown,
Really?
all around. And yeah, so I grew up in Settle Court, one of the like worst ones they have.
All right. And what was that like growing up? Were you have a tight family unit with you coming up?
Well, yeah, it was, family was tight. My mom had me really young. I stayed with my auntie for a long time. And then we kind of sync back up. My mom got me. I didn't get to stay with her until I was probably 8 or
Okay.
9 or something like that. But yeah, it was an interesting. My whole life was some kind of interesting, weird book. You know what I'm saying?
You know what? It's funny. Doing this podcast, I talk to a lot of different people from all walks of life, and it all goes back to the start, their story. Everybody's got a story. Nobody's is the same. You know what I mean, man? It's like
Right.
everybody's got a different story, and I think that those experiences, when you're younger, kind of mold you and shape you, not necessarily in who you are right now, but maybe put you on a path to something, you know, where things are going to go good for you, a positive
Oh
thing.
I think everything like your childhood and the experience that you do molds you one way or the other, and like it does bring out the good in people, and it actually leads you to the places. Like I said, your road or whatever path you take in life. Sometimes, like most doctors and stuff that you run into, is because they maybe their parents died of some illness, and they end up being doctors to save other people. There's a lot of I really believe in that.
Yeah, I do too. And it's another thing I've been really focusing on is positivity, lifting other people up around you. That's something I try to do in my everyday life. And one of the most positive things in life for me is music. And
Oh, absolutely.
it connects with you on a level where I don't think there's anything else out there in the universe that can connect you, like music. And the awesome thing about music too is the different people from all walks of life that are coming together for the same cause.
But yeah, I think music is one of the like most natural way to bring people together, because you could take harmonies and you could take feelings and words and lyrics and everything else, and really like I can write a song and I'm just expressing what I feel. But you know what? Like, there's millions of people that felt exactly the same way, but they didn't know how to say it. Music helps other people like find their voice through other voices. If that makes any sense.
Dude, that you're talking my language. I connect with that on so many levels. Yeah, it's the greatest thing, as a human species to be able to, and it blows my mind with any type of artist, and the art that they create. And and then you get musicians, and then you take a handful of musicians, you put them together in a room, and it's like you have somebody bringing lyrics, You have somebody laying a beat on the drums. You have a bass, a guitar, keyboards, a DJ. There's so many different layers to that. And it's like to have that all together in one place. It's just that massive explosion of energy.
Hmm. Yeah, I 100% agree with that. And that's one thing that really cool about Stone Deep is like there's nobody except maybe me and the DJ Terry. To a certain extent, everybody's from a different place. Like our guitar player, Glenn Cummings, he's from New York, hardcore, thrash metal. Our drummer is more contemporary, drumming. Our bass player came from a reggae band. So it's just like, but we play Stone Deep music, and it's all melted in, and it's harmonious, and it all paints the same picture.
And it's awesome that you said that, because I was going to talk about all that stuff, but the background of each guy and what they're bringing to the table, you can hear it in your music. You can hear, you're like, you're listening to it. It's like, oh my God, you can hear that reggae, that funk. You can hear the thrash metal. You can hear the DJ scratch. And then you bring your lyrics to it. What they get fucking deep, and there's a wit to them, and there's like, they're hooky and catchy, and it's some great music that you guys made.
Yeah, I mean, it's been we've been doing it for a long time, and I don't know if there's a band that has the same exact mix as we do. There's a lot of bands that have like guest rappers or rock bands that have people that do things with them for one house, but we've been playing like melting the same music for like years and years, so the combination is really rare.
No, and that's great, and that you guys are all still doing it. Because you guys came up, what, in the early 90s, right? Right, 92, 93?
Yeah, so just to give you a little background, so we're a combination of a couple different bands. So back in 91, me and Terry, we was on Interscope Records in a band called The Hardcore. And we was one of the first rap rock groups to ever like hit mainstream or whatever. And but at the same time, Glenn Cummings, the guitar player, he was in a New York hardcore band called Ludacris, and he was also in Scatterbrain. They had a top hit called "Don't Call Me Dude." So all of that was going simultaneously. We did not know each other. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And like we said, the universe kind of brought us together under some like just weird happenstance. Like we had switched bands and getting ready to switch from hardcore to Stone Deep. We needed a guitar player. Glenn was just, taking a pause or winding down his scatterbrain stuff. And through a mutual friend, it was like, hey, you should check these guys out. And I mean, this guy, and I think Glenn's like one of the most, like a genius to me. He says I'm a genius, but I don't agree with that. I think he is. We literally sent him a cassette player, a cassette tape of our album, right?
Yep.
He was in Long Island, New York, which is about 13 to 17 hours from here.
Yep.
Never practiced. Not one single note. He drives down, shows up at sound check, and we slammed that whole show.
That's,
And from that moment, I was like, okay, this is it. I don't know how you could pop that. I mean, no sound check.
Just right? Doing it.
He did a little key check, like, oh yeah, this is in G or whatever. Yeah, boom. Bridges, and if you listen to our music, it's not a walk in the park. We put a lot of changes in it. We put a lot of bridges, and we switched from heavy stuff to reggae to funk to whatever we feel like, So it's not like a 3-chord, smash your way through it. Like, we really go through some musical changes. So, and for him to come down and do that, man, I was like, this is my dude.
This is it. Yeah. No, that's awesome. And it's just, I've been going through crazy stuff in my life for the last couple of years, and started accepting what the universe can do for you, and positivity, and connecting with positive people. And man, yeah, when you find your people, it's like, oh man, what a difference in how you take on things, and how you're creative, how that works. And it's just it's an amazing thing, and that's awesome. That's what this talk is all about, man, is making those connections with people, and having those positive, reactions out of that. So, I wanted to tell you, I named the podcast title is Ronzo the Beast Cartwright, Booze in Whoville. So,
Yes.
so I live in a town called East Hampton, Massachusetts. I'm in Western Mass.
Okay.
I'm about 15 minutes to Springfield, Mass, where the Basketball Hall of Fame is.
Mm-hmm.
And Dr. Seuss used to live in Springfield.
Oh my goodness, nice.
Okay. So I live on the other side of the mountain, Mount Tom. Mount Tom is Mount Crumpet from Whoville in the Grinch. And we have a jubilation every year, and the Grinch comes and hands out candy, and there's a big parade in the center of town.
Don't say that.
Dude,
don't say that.
I'm dead serious. Like this is like our town is based off of Whoville when he wrote that book.
That is so outstanding.
Isn't
I'm glad to come up there.
You're welcome up here anytime you're around. There's nothing that really happens, up until after Thanksgiving. It's they decorate the town and stuff, and then they have the jubilation, which I think has been going on for 10 or 15 years. I can't remember. It's been going on for a while.
Right.
But it's
so cool.
Yeah, it's just
I
I know you had the song Whoville, and I'm like, all right, how can I incorporate this into the podcast? And I'm like, all right, I know what I'm doing. Booze and Whoville. Here we go.
Right. I mean, and that song. So if you listen to like Whoville, and if you actually listen deeply to Stone Deep, and that's the whole point of Stone Deep. It's like we do catchy tunes, we do a lot of musical like iterations, but I write in a double entendre style, so that like maybe I'm telling a fairy tale, but the point of it is different from the fairy tale. So making characters out of the Grinch being like literal alcohol in the streets, you know what I mean, and the Who's in Whoville and the people that's being affected by it. So it's a good way to put catchy tunes together, catchy hooks, but also get a very, very important point across without coming out too preachy.
Yeah, and I like that. I find a lot of your stuff is it. There's like and then the groove that you have in those songs. It's like it's catchy, it's hooky, and it's like it makes you happy. Like it's great music to listen to, and that's and I mean, you guys have been doing this for a long time, and the rap and rock movement blew up and got huge, and it and it's like I feel you guys started doing this. You're one of the pioneering bands to really start doing this.
Oh yeah, I mean we was really early on before my first album with the hardcore on Interscope Records, we actually had Jam Master Jay from Run DMC, and we also had Joe the Butcher Niccolo, and the same year he was putting out the Fugees and Cypress Hill.
Oh Jesus!
So, yeah, you know what I'm saying. So we really, really got in on the front end. I think we was a bit advanced for maybe the mainstream taste. It was very, very heavy, very like in your face. But I feel that music doesn't have an age.
Absolutely.
Because right now, anything about me is I have a huge, wide variance of musical taste. So like right now, I would probably be listening to Brown Eyed Girl by Van Morrison.
Hell yeah.
People look at me like, really? I'm like, yeah. Or, you know what I mean? Something like that. Or Heard It Through the Grapevine through Creedence Clearwater Revival. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because it's like that doesn't get old. Like, I listen to those, and they could have put them out yesterday for all I know. And I just love the music, the attitudes there. I actually love Tom Petty a lot.
Hell yeah.
Because, and the reason why I really like him is because, and I'm like that when I write my lyrics and when I record my lyrics. It doesn't matter if I'm in key, out of key. I mean exactly what I'm saying.
Right.
And when he does his stuff, he's just telling how he feels, and he's adamant about it, and he's just drawing it right out there, like, love it or leave it. Here it is, and that gives us just the realness and honesty, gives a good reflection. Like, people, there's so much going on these days that just some honesty and just some kindness is a breath of fresh air right now.
Yeah, it is. I mean, I try, every day I try to do random acts of kindness, holding the door for people, saying good morning to somebody at a coffee shop in the morning. Like, to me, that's like, that starts people's days. That starts my day. 6:30, I'm grabbing my coffee on the way to work, and it's like, morning, how are you? Hold the door, strike up a small conversation. It's just like, yeah, there's not enough positive things going on right now.
No, it's not. But you know what? It's up to people like us to put it out there. Like, once you start doing it, it's a ripple. It's always a ripple. If you start somebody's day off and you can get a smile out of them, or they get a nice hello, they're gonna spread that. It's super contagious.
Hell yeah.
People think hate is contagious. Love and kindness is super contagious. You can change a whole room. I know I can. I can come into a room and really just switch the whole energy of it just by being me and being cordial and, really, really loving on people and stuff like that.
We're running on the same wavelength. I definitely feel the same. Like, and it's so much easier to be kind and to be good to people than it is to be a shitty person. Like, all that fucking energy that to be negative is so much harder to carry that shit around. Like,
like, no. You gotta work at it. You gotta work at being horrible. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, why are you working so hard, man?
Yeah, people suck, but there's also a lot of great people, and again, the music brings that back too to people. You can be a shitty person and be having a horrible day, but then you hear a song and you're like, oh, all right, you know what? All right, I feel a little bit better. I mean, I know without, during all the shit with COVID, not having live shows, that was, oh my God, that killed me. That was just so hard not to be able to go see bands to support, the local scene or, even the big scene. I go to everything, like, and I'm the same way musically. Like, I was listening yesterday, I was listening to Chris Christopherson, and
nice.
Yeah. And you were talking about having that voice where it's not quite in key all the time, but it's that honest message that he brings and the way he writes a song. And I feel Johnny Cash too, who's one of my, as far as old school country guys, his music too.
Oh, yeah. I'm madly in love with Johnny Cash. He's legit. Yeah. And that it goes Johnny Cash, Bob Dylan, you know what I mean?
Yeah, the greats. Yeah, I've seen Bob Dylan a few times, and I love his music, but man, he just doesn't give a shit anymore.
And the whole thing is like, as long as you are true or just really, steadfast in what you're saying, like, why give a shit about people, trying to knick-knack and trying to, well, this is, you missed the whole point. You're too busy being negative to miss the actual point.
And that's
like,
what
you hear the point.
Yeah, people need to slow down and listen to the message,
Yeah. Listen to the message, and you put the message in the grooves, and then you let the groove, just absorb people in. And that's another thing about Stone Deep is, like, our grooves are nice. They suck you in. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
and then once you get in there, you feel like you're in some place you want to stay.
It is, and I love the work that everybody's doing on it. It's it's again, how old are some of those songs that you guys have?
Oh, they range from we record, maybe 90s, early 90s, mid 90s. You have to understand that some of those songs I wrote 10 years before the band showed up. Like,
It and
they
it
just right around. They wasn't in rock rap form. They might have been raps or something or poems. So I write a lot of poetry and what I call hood books. I write these little beats, short stories and stuff like that. That's what I'm saying. Music doesn't have an actual age. It's either good or it's not good.
Yep, and I find that your music there's no you can't put a timeline on it. You know what I mean? It's just like it's good music. It's and again, like you were saying, Van Morrison, music like that. It never gets old. It never fades. It never goes away. It's always there.
Right, because and people think it's like, well, what they do? No, it's a feeling. That feeling is genuine. Genuine feeling does not fade. So it's just like, yeah, if somebody put their heart, and their soul into something and it's done right, it won't ever fade. People are going to get that same feeling. And that's what I think is great about music. You can recording and keep it forever.
I know, and that you think about some of the greatest music that's ever been written. In our where we are as a human species. What was before things went electric, and now that things have gone electric, it's like the creativity and there's I'm not big on AI, and I think it's can be good and very bad. And that's the thing is, I think that it takes away from a lot of actual real artists when people can just like put a bunch of crap on that they didn't even like create. It's just like taking music and making it with artificial intelligence. It's like, what the hell is that?
Right. So artistry, like pure artistry, is actually a gift. It's a divine gift. You know what I mean? It's like everybody's not born with it. So if you're born with it, you should like do it to the best of your ability or whatever. Like AI to me just kind of duplicates it. You know what I mean? And I had some guy was like, he listened to my music and then he come back the next day and was like, oh, hey, AI wrote a rap, read this. And it just looked like I was reading a dictionary.
Yeah,
like the words matched, but they didn't say anything. It didn't, it wasn't personable. Didn't mention nobody's names, no time periods, no scenarios, nothing that anybody would relate to in their lifetime. It was just matching words. It's like, that's not music. Music is like, you want to hear something and be like, oh, yeah, I remember in the 70s this happened. I remember in the 90s. I remember a hot day. I remember, cold lemonade, anything, something that's humanized to where your soul can like reach out and get a piece of it.
hell yeah. No, I'm right there with you on that. Because you there's something inside you that draws you to that, to music, to art. And yeah, there's nothing artificial intelligence creating music and art. It's like, oh, cool. Well, go pick up a pen and go grab a notebook and write some lyrics down, or draw a picture, or you want to be creative, do something.
Yeah, or make a mistake. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the whole point. It's like, yeah, it doesn't have to be technically everything, buttoned down. Okay, we goofed up right there, and it was cool. We left it. We'll do that recordings, and there'll be a little flub in there, but it's so dope. You just be like, okay, leave that in. That's nice. You know what I mean?
Yeah, keep it.
So what? Yeah.
And that's why I like doing this show. I do it live because I don't want to edit it. I don't want to change anything. The conversation that we're having is real. And in that moment, things get said, and that I don't want to change any of that. And and that's there's that's the artistic side in me. I think where I think that it's like we're just gonna be fucking real and we're gonna do it live and that's it. But so
Yeah,
let's.
I'm glad you got me on too because it's like just in the last probably 2 or 3 weeks, I've talked to some cats in Utah. You're in Massachusetts and California. And I'm saying this because it's like I'm here in Nashville, but we're now blessed with the digital age that like we can talk, we can communicate from around the world right now
Yes.
on a common level. Much as, the digital age has done got a little out of hand, that is to me, one advantage. You know what I mean? Like, what was the chances of me and you could sit down and chop it up like this just back in the day? You know what I mean?
Yeah, you got to get schedules lined up. People got to get flights or hop in cars, and
Right.
yeah, it's so hard to connect, with people, even now with all this technology. But yeah, I did my last couple podcasts were a guy down in Maryland, my buddy Dex, Cornell Butler, great dude. Um, did one in Virginia that was Ricardo Grimm, and
Nice.
then Kevin Michaels was Los Angeles, Andy Kimball, Los Angeles. So like yeah, like just being able to talk to, pick up the phone and talk to people like that at any time or shoot a text to someone, um, when you don't have time for a phone call. So it's like, I'm not huge into texting, but it's like sometimes a text is more than sufficient than a phone call,
Right. Yeah. And more people, like, just as far as being on Instagram and that kind of stuff, it's all out over the place. But at the same time, you can have people like we have people from Norway and we have a kid from Denmark that's been doing like these little mini anime. We got a guy Sugi that does art. He's from Japan. Like, it's really, really cool that you can reach out and bring in as many people from all walks of life in a lot of different places. I just think that's, to me, very amazing.
Yeah,
And the fact that they all have the same feeling about Stone Deep music.
no, and that's great. Like to have, it just shows that, with the digital age, you're able to connect with people that you may never have been able to connect to, 30, 40 years ago. Now it's like, like after we're done doing this talk, I'll let it'll end. I hit publish, and then it's there forever.
You're right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I think that's really cool because, like, back in the day, you put out, let's say you put out a CD, right? Well, it's got what they call a shelf life back then. You remember?
Yeah.
You put it in the stores, you get a couple of radio spins, maybe some college. But if you don't have like a big company pushing you, the shelf life goes down and it just disappears. Like a lot of great music disappears. But now once you get it online, you get it out there, it's literally out there for infinity, which is cool.
Yeah, it's nice. I mean, the only downside is, like you said, CDs, vinyl. I still buy vinyl, just because I like the way it sounds. When I'm playing a record, you can hear the imperfections in it, and it's not 100% clean. And
Right.
that's what I like. That's like going to a live show. You're gonna get some feedback. You're gonna get some, some issues, but that you want that.
Right. Like, yeah, and that's what I'm saying. You want the energy, you want the miscues, you want, the feedback, you want the mic to feedback a little between the.
Yeah, it's that's what I always connected. Like I went to hardcore shows back in the '90s too, and one of my favorite bands that came out of Boston was this band called Tree,
Mm-hmm.
and he's at Dave from Tree the singer is actually we're gonna do a chat on here at some point, but they really got me into. I probably seen those guys probably 60 plus times, maybe more. I don't know. Just
Nice.
they were all like Northampton, Mass. 10 minutes from where I live. We had Pearl Street, They had an upstairs, a downstairs. They had, and that was like everybody like that was underground or whatever in the area. Even like big acts that came through, like Typo Negative came through there a few times. I saw Corrosion of Conformity there. Yeah, those, just like all these bands, and then Katina's was another place. Pantera used to come through there, and it was like a little fucking hole in the wall place, like nothing crazy. Um, but we had that. I was fortunate enough to grow up in that time where I could every Saturday there were Friday night, Saturday night there was a show to go to. And it was like usually all ages, $5 to get in, and then you're hanging out with your friends, watching live music every weekend.
Right.
And that to me was just that was huge growing up.
Yeah, and that's something that's kind of missing now. It's just having your little underground nook where you can hear your bands, and then just kind of pile in there, nothing too big. I remember we was on tour. We used to be my first band. We went out with like Fishbone and Promise and 24/7 Spies and a lot of those bands.
Hell yeah.
We actually went out on the Cop Killer tour with Ice-T and Body Count.
Oh man.
Yeah, it was outstanding.
That's awesome. Yeah, Body.
Play all the little clubs like Club Babyhead. You ever heard that? It's either in Boston or Rhode Island, one of those. I'm not mistaken, but this club was in a basement, and the plumbing was exposed from the top. So the crowd would be like standing room only, and also in the plumbing. And it was just so amazing because the fire marshal was like, you could only put 250 people in here, but you could actually get 3 something because 50 or 60 of them was like climbing, like hanging out the plumbing.
That's you know what? That's fucking hardcore. That's music needs that more than ever right now.
Right, I think, and another reason why Stone Deep, I believe, the universe wants us back is because music used to be the driving force of the voice of the unheard, right?
Yes.
So now, labels throw money at the newer bands, and this is rock, rap, country, everything. Like I'm big, I like country and stuff. They sound like rock bands now. It's just ridiculous. Like I don't know. The country I grew up on, I was like, what are y'all playing? Where's your steel guitar? Where's your guitar player? Just not plugged up. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's crazy. So, but the money's driving it, not the art's not driving it no more. So it's like, nah, we got to get back to bands. It's just kind of like, this is how I feel. I feel like you feel, Let's I don't need to be in a 10,000 50,000 seat arena. Let's pile into a 1,200 seater. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Theater,
yes.
And get it done.
Yeah, and
I love that so much. Yeah.
And there's something to be said about going to smaller venues, because I'm on front rail for shows. Like I want to connect with everybody on stage and look at them, and I want them to feel the energy I'm putting out. And that's what it's awesome to go to the big festivals, but those small intimate shows are like, you don't get that anywhere else. That you got to go to that show to get that.
Right. You go there and you get that energy, and for me, I guess I feed off of energy. So you get 1,200 people in there on the same wavelength. You know what I mean? Enjoying your music and also understanding what you're doing. Like you can raise the energy level up so high in that to where everybody's literally losing their mind.
Yeah, and that's what you want. That's what you want. That you need that. That's what drives you, right? You're getting that energy, and that's driving you.
Yeah, I mean that actually solidifies or makes it worth what I'm doing. Like, okay, it's not that I just wrote something and I felt like that. I wrote something and, there's a lot of people that felt that way too. So now that, I can speak for them, like it's just too much. It's not enough not enough bands speaking right now. They're just they're putting like pop ditties together and that. You know what I mean? They're just doing whatever. Like I'm not here to bag on anybody. Make your money, but at the same time, man, you can't ever let your art fail. You know what I mean? And the underground is always where art comes from. If you look at any genre and any big band, the underground version of that is where it starts. It usually elevates up to a pop level and then it resets.
Yep.
Remember when White Snake and all them was out?
Yep.
And Van Halen, everybody had big hair and makeup, and it was all cool and big guitar, stadium stuff. Well, how did we reset?
Yeah.
Nirvana.
Yeah, you bring in grunge.
Nirvana came in and it just, literally put everybody into a wood chipper. It was dirty. It was, you know what I'm saying? You can tell them people was playing dirty strings and the drums was cracked. Like, it was just so raw. You know what I mean? And, like, all music needs to do that. It's real pop heavy, really light. The energy and the meaning disappears, and then you have to reset it. Country did that. You know what I mean? The guy that sings, what's Chris Stapleton?
Yep.
I called him like maybe 5 years before. I didn't know him personally, but I was listening to country. I went out with some friends of mine. I said, you know what? The next guy that comes in has got a big beard. His original country hat and an old guitar with some dirty strings is going to cut everybody in half. Guess what?
There he is.
There he is. I mean, he came in and just slaughtered everybody, too. So it's like he just made what he says. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Nothing fancy, nothing hokey, you know, no bells, no whistles. Just here it is. And I love that. So I think Stone Deep's kind of like that, too. We're unapologetic. We do what we do. If you don't like it, that is your problem.
Yeah.
You know? We're not here to, you know, we're here to create good vibes, good energy, to stand up for bullies, stand up for people being bullied, stand up for the little guy, to speak for people who can't, you know, otherwise speak for themselves. So, I mean, that's what we do.
And that's the beauty of the art that you guys are making and what you're doing is you're doing it you're not only for yourselves. I mean, you know, that you wouldn't be doing it if you didn't want to fulfill something within yourself. But you know, doing it for other people and to connect with them and pull them out of a situation or, you know, I mean, I can have one of the shittiest days in the world and then I'll go on and I'll put on some of the most brutal metal and listen to it. You know what I mean? And be like, yeah, cool. That was my reset. I'm good to go.
Right. I mean, and sometimes, like, you have to think, like, you don't need to go and hear a string quartet to, you know, sometimes you're angry and you need to release that anger in a positive way. Or sometimes, you know, you need something loud that you can just scream through and, you know, release all your energy out of, too. So,
yeah, no.
I understand that.
No, I feel that absolutely. Like you need that. Let it out. Get the anger out. Get the hate, whatever you're pissed off about out, and then you can go about your day. You can keep listening to that and keep it rolling. Whatever.
Right. I mean, music is the ultimate therapy.
It sure is.
Like, I don't know, unless there's just something, you know, that can be fixed. I don't know if there's anybody on this planet that doesn't have a song that'll bring them down to earth. Like, everybody's got something that'll bring them down to earth, or that'll understand what they're saying. Like, you know what I mean? That'll talk to them a certain way, or a music note, or a music harmony that'll bring you, like, to a certain place. It's so weird. Like, you ever heard of Conway Twitty?
Yes.
Okay, he's the oldest dude, right? He's got an old song called "That's My Job," and I don't know what notes is in that thing, and I don't know what key he's playing in, but I cry every time I hear it. Not in a bad way, but just in a release, almost like I'm listening to gospel music.
Because it touches you.
It's just touching. Like, it hits a certain note in my soul, and I just release. And I'm not like sad and I'm suicidal. It just makes me like just release.
You know what song does that? You know what song does that for me? David Bowie and Freddie Mercury, "Under Pressure."
Yes. Oh, I love that song.
Like that song. in either of those guys singing. Like Fred. I grew up. My mom, we grew up listening to Zeppelin, the Beatles, Queen. Queen was Ozzy, and
Right.
there's something about the way Freddie Mercury could deliver a song and
Oh yeah.
and sing, and it was like it just like it captivates you, and it puts you into a trance. It just like and it almost you almost sometimes like with certain music, and I know I feel like this. It almost feels like you're having an out of body experience with it.
Right. And
Like
that's when you know you're tuned in. Yeah.
yeah, like you can feel it, and you're like you're there, but you're not. You're like above it, and you're just taking it in, and like there's there's a certain songs and certain musicians and the way they deliver it to you, and it just it connects with you, and it it's great when music can do that.
And then we just need more of it. I would like to bring back, smaller clubs, more intimate clubs. I know COVID really threw everybody off. Cool thing about COVID though, so you ever heard of couch riffs?
No.
So it's this thing this guy got, he got in touch with us. I think he plays, he goes on tour, he plays bass with Ugly Kid Joe or somebody, but he called us and said, "Would we do a remake of Summertime by Will Smith and DJ Jazzy Jeff, right? Like for the summer."
Really?
Yeah, so we did it, but the cool thing about it was there was 5 artists in there, and I mean, this thing sounds amazing. Nobody ever met each other, and nobody was ever in the same room together. There was like a guy from the Netherlands and a guy from Kenya, and my guitar player, Glenn Cummings, was in New York. I was in Nashville, and we all recorded in separate places with the same energy and feeling and put it together. And they played it all together. And that's what I mean by when you were saying, like, music coming from different artists but having the same, mojo, so to speak, that it just all blends into each other. And I thought that was just amazing because usually you get together, you jam, you practice,
Yeah.
and it's like, wow.
You're just, and that's what I know. I know, for musicians, like, not being able to play out live, destroys you. And it's like, being able to do that through COVID, and a bunch of bands were doing that or playing, doing an online show or something. It's like awesome. Like they're still able to give you the outlet that they need, to get
Right.
their art out to you. And that's freaking awesome, man.
Right. And and I also make sure I have to mention that we are on Instagram, we're on TikTok, we have a Stone Deep store, got t-shirts, we're on Amazon, Spotify. Anybody want to come and check out our music and, just be a part. I am also, you're in like Massachusetts, I got a guy in Utah, some European guys, and I'm actually trying to get like just my first, or not our first, but now a new, I don't know what to call it. I'm going to call it like Stone Deep Matrix. That's like the first people that reconnect with us.
Okay.
Just have a whole squad of them. Like I'm from the hip hop area where, we call it a clique back then. You get a clique of your main dudes that understand you, and they come in on the ground floor, and then whatever happens, happens. But you always got those people, where you stay close to them. So I invite you to also be part of our little, clique or whatever.
I appreciate that, Ronzo. That I tell you, man, this is how things have been going for me with connecting with folks like you and Glenn. And it's, you were talking about that domino effect of positivity and things going on. It's just every day for myself has been a blessing, and it's been an even better day than the day before.
Right.
And, and being able to have these talks and doing this, it solidifies that, being positive and putting that energy out and you can connect with people from Nashville, from New York, from all over the world, and you can feel that. I know I can. I you know
Oh yeah.
I feel like we're all tuned in. Like there's just something out there.
Right. And then at some point, it's all going to create like a mesh, I think. Like once you get like people from all over the place and they start like, listening to each other, listening to everybody's music, supporting everybody's music, supporting people's podcasts and, little small shows. Because, I've been doing a lot of interviews lately because, maybe they got, 500 to 1,000, but I'm like, yeah, 1,000 times 2,000 is what? You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
That's a lot of people creating a lot of energy from a lot of different places, especially when it all turns into a mess. If you got like European, American, you know what I mean, and all Canadian and all that stuff starts meshing to where it's the same energy. That's a lot of positive energy and it's a lot of power. It's a lot of stuff to be proud of.
Hell yeah, man.
To be, and yeah.
No, that's I totally get where you're at with that. Because it's just and it's overwhelming at times. I don't know if you feel that. Like sometimes you got to like just take a minute and like, so just not to change the subject, but the gentleman I interviewed a couple weeks ago, Kevin Michaels, he's he's in his late 60s. He's a country musician. Started playing when he was 8, 14 years old. He wrote his first album. Met Paul McCartney. Paul McCartney heard him singing in a hotel in Worcester, Mass. Took him over to England to record, and Kevin's best friend is Ringo Starr.
Wow.
So and that's what I'm saying. Like I didn't know any of that. I didn't know anything about him or who he was friends with, but it just goes to show like being good, being positive, making connections with people, having these types of conversations and talks in a positive way. It's like the people that are connecting with you are like, it blows my mind. It blows my mind.
Well, I mean, if your mind's blown now, you just wait until, like I said, like this interview, the ones I'm doing, the people we all talk to, the people you talk to, and once it starts intertwining, you'll be so amazed. Like we was talking about the trickle effect of positivity, and it's a little more powerful than people really realize.
Oh, it is, and people have to stop and actually take it in and appreciate it because, if you're negative and you're just not into the being positive and doing good things, you're never going to link up and get that energy and never feel that and never make the connections that, everybody's capable of doing this and but what's going to bring it out of you and, to be able to do it. It's the power of positivity is very strong. And I'm thankful to have like I said, talks, like this with people and musicians and artists. And, it's just a great thing. And,
I think you're doing a great thing too, man. Just keep up with your podcast, grow it. You know what I mean? Find the positivity in people because it's like that's something that you're needed right now. Like just literally having like a positive outlet for people with so much negativity right now.
And it was funny because this took me a little over a year to like, I knew what I wanted to do, and I talk about this with everybody I talk to, but I didn't know how I was going to like execute it. Mm-hmm. And I just didn't want to be somebody doing a podcast, just having random talks with random people over absolute nonsense. Like one thing right. I don't like, and during I don't talk about politics because that energy that comes in with politics, you don't know how it's going to go either way. And it's like, it just brings another energy in that you don't even need. It doesn't need to right. be there, and, and I've actually had some crazy talks about religion because, I grew up in a Catholic household. I went to church as a kid. I went to Catholic school, kindergarten to 8th grade. It was like, then I got into high school and I'm like, yeah, I'm done with that. I'm good. Like,
Right.
Like I don't need somebody telling me every Sunday that I need to give more money and I need to repent and make sure you're back next week with that money. Come on back.
Yeah, what's that?
You
What's
know,
that going with you?
yeah, give me that money. But and I just found that for myself, like I have a higher power. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's the universe. Maybe it's aliens. I don't know. But I just put some. You have to have some type of faith, I think. And
Oh yeah, and like I noticed that you said the word energy, and I'm a true believer. Universe. I'm sorry.
yes,
I truly believe that the universe, like, because we're all made out of energy, and that's why like positive energy travels.
yes,
So if you put it out there, it's gonna connect to the people that it needs to, and it's just like, and the universe to me will bring you exactly what you asked for. So you have to be careful what you're asking for. But
absolutely.
be careful and how you're gonna receive it. But if you say I need this, and you put the energy out to get it, it will come to you. You know, you just have to make sure that you got your end, on point when it comes in.
Yeah, you got to be ready for it because man,
Right.
when you start accepting it and allowing it to come into your life, holy shit, it's
Yeah.
yeah, it changes your whole outlook on life and how you do things, and and it's a great thing.
But
But yeah, so I guess I want to ask you, you guys, we thinking about a tour or
so right now we're gonna do some select shows. We have a lot of music to release, so we're going about it kind of, in steps. We put out some 8 tracks. We put out some cassettes. We're gonna do every form of digital media
yep,
uh, that'll be available. Our next is gonna be vinyl,
hell yeah,
and so we're gonna have the Nashville record and the Gates and the Government record is going to be on one vinyl album, and we're going to have some Shuggy design artwork on that. So that's our next step right there. My hope is to formulate this to get a big enough buzz to do some European touring.
yep.
Uh, so we're just taking it in steps. We're in control of everything we do, all of our masters, all of our everything, so we can take any necessary steps we need to take. We don't have to, ask anybody for permission or anything. So we're really in a good space to where we're picking up fans that digging our music. We don't have to change it for anybody. We don't have to have a label come in and quote unquote make it better or make it more pop or whatever it is they do with it. We're just going to continue to be us and grab guys like you and chain them all together and create a big old matrix, basically make us a mesh of like-minded people.
And that's what it's all about. And that I had you on because I wanted to have the conversation. I'm lifting you up by having you're lifting me up, and it's like if more people did this with each other, we'd be in a lot better of a spot.
Right. We just got to keep like whatever you're doing, just keep doing it and just keep tying in. And this is like actually to me, this is the updated form of underground movement. It's a digital form of underground movement. Does that make sense?
It makes total sense because
So,
I
however many people you got, if you got 500, 600, 700, that's just like a crowd of people at a show, right?
yeah.
So if I did a tour and I did 200 shows with 500 to 800 people, guess what? At the end of that tour, we got thousands of people that's all interconnected.
Yeah, and then they're gonna share. They're gonna share. Um, your music because they're into it. That's gonna go out, and then they're gonna share it with some. It's that. It's that positivity chain, that domino effect of positivity, and sharing that.
100%. It's the positivity chain, the domino effect, and this is the digital underground version of it. You know what I mean? We don't have nobody with $1 million pushing it in the wrong direction if they want to. We're doing it on our own terms, the way we want to do it, and everybody's connecting together, as we go along.
I'm looking forward to that vinyl coming out.
It's gonna be monster. Yeah. We've had we had a really good guy do. It's been remastered, so it's gonna be really amazing. Sean Franklin remastered it.
Nice. Shout out to him.
He mastered like Public Enemy and guys like that.
Nice. Well, it's nice that you can have somebody come, that's I'm very well respected in the industry and working with bands like that and can put his touch on what you're doing. And, that's a great thing. And again, it's all through positivity and sharing stuff with people. Like you said, this is underground. It was like going to the hardcore show or the metal show, and you're getting cassette tapes for free from bands. Like, here, take this. I miss that. Oh my God, do I miss that?
I miss it too. Yeah, I mean, I remember going to CMJ in like '96 or something, the College Media Journal, and I just brought back cassettes and CDs from like France all the way to like Hoboken, New Jersey, to LA, to Mississippi, and I just sat and just listened to all these cats, man. Now it's good music. I miss it a lot.
Yeah, and the connection you made, like back in the day, going to the shows, especially in the '90s, it was different. Like, the whole scene was different. The way people interacted with people were different. Like, I'm all for grabbing my phone and taking some pictures at a show or something, while I'm there. What's crazy is I went to a hardcore show with my two sons. I took them, we went and saw Tree, this band from Massachusetts called Death Ray Vision. The bass player plays in Killswitch Engage.
I know that.
Yeah, so they've got a big following, but Death Ray Vision, they're like real, like a modernized hardcore punk rock band, super great. Another local band, Medicated Savage. Those guys, Moses Whitlock is the singer. Very charismatic singer. But just these local music, like the talent that's out there right now. And I'm starting to see it, in these small venues and these shows coming back. It's just like, oh man, it's a shot in the arm that that we needed.
Oh, that's 100%. Yeah, and I think, like I said, everything's in revolution. So it's just like, the underground's going to reformulate itself. It's going to regenerate. And I think music will always be fine, but it's always going to have to reset itself.
Yeah.
To stay relevant.
No, and, going back to Nirvana, bands like Nirvana, Soundgarden, Pearl Jam, Alice in Chains, who are one of my favorite bands, the music industry needed that. They needed a fucking check, because it was almost shit. They were putting out shit, and I love, the hair metal and the big guitars in the stadiums and all that stuff. But it got to the point where it was just so, like, you're just putting out all these bands that sound exactly the same and they're doing the same thing. It's like, there's no creativity. It's a stage show.
Yeah, it just turned into a big cut and paste fest.
Yeah.
Like, that's what they're doing now. Like, all, new bands and new everything is just cut and paste. It's like, you got 3 beats, 3 chords, you know what I mean? And, it's just really, really bargain basement.
Yeah.
It's like, it's gotta reset. It's resetting now, actually.
I think so. And I think COVID was actually a facilitator for that, for musicians resetting, because it gave a lot of people that maybe were touring a lot or, didn't have time to sit down and actually gather the thoughts and compose things the way they wanted to. So 2 years where they could do that. And it's like, I mean, yeah, there's some great new music coming out. I'm the same way. I gravitate to everything, anything and everything. It doesn't matter what it is, as long as I can connect to it. It, could be, like my wedding song, my wife and I wedding song. It's Louis Armstrong,
Nice.
Because I connected with him because of my grandparents. Like they would listen Louis Armstrong, or, my other grandmother would listen, to Johnny Cash and Chris Christopherson. So it's like
Right.
all these, in that, when you hear a song, it takes you back to where you were at that moment when you first heard it.
Right.
You know,
What's your favorite Johnny Cash song?
my favorite Johnny Cash song is a song written by Chris Christopherson. Sunday Morning. Um, I love Chris Christopherson's version of that song, but the way Johnny Cash delivered that song, like
Right.
I hear that, like when you were talking about like being in tears because of joy, or just emotion. That song,
Right.
I would say 99% of when I hear that song, I'm emotionally connected to it, and get choked up and kind of teary on it.
I like that song. Remember he redid "Hurt"?
Oh my God, Trent Reznor, yeah, Nine Inch Nails
Oh
version.
my goodness! Yeah.
Yes, that whole album, that his last piece that he did was he covered Soundgarden, Rusty Cage. It's like, what? Like Johnny Cash just covered a Soundgarden song. Like he covered
Right.
a Nine Inch Nails song. Yeah, that song
Right.
that's another song that's very powerful too. And
Yeah, and he sang it. When he sang it, you could tell that was going to be his last recording. At least I thought so. That was going to be his last recording. Like you could feel all his energy, like just bleeding into it.
and
And it really shakes me when I listen to it.
I want to say his wife died shortly after he was doing that recordings, and dealing with all that. So it's like, he died shortly after she did.
Yeah.
And yeah, he was just we're never going to get another Johnny Cash,
No, that's it. Yeah, we're done. Chris Christopherson, we're done.
Yeah. And like Willie Nelson, it's like,
People.
yeah, it's almost seeing the human side of these musicians and artists, and when they pass on, it's like the realization sets in, like I'm never going to hear anything new from them. I'm never going to be able to go to a show and see them perform again. Like, okay, hopefully you got to see the musician or artist, at some point, and you were able to connect with them, or just, okay, maybe, maybe it's going to reinvigorate somebody to go buy some of those albums too.
Yeah.
Which I guess is good, because it's going to connect to a younger generation.
Well, I think this was happening now. Like my kids and a lot of younger adults are like digging into the quote unquote albums of the '90s and stuff, and realizing all this really good music that they never really heard before. The younger piece of people that listen to our music, they're like, "This is new, right?" It's like, okay, just because they never heard it before, so of course it is.
Yeah, that was like, somebody was saying, I forget who I was talking to. They were talking about the Beatles, and then Paul McCartney came up, and they're like, "Oh, he was in another band besides Wings." It's like, Paul McCartney was in the goddamn Beatles. Like,
Yeah, it's like the Beatles, man.
like,
What's wrong with you?
one of the probably one of the most influential rock bands to come out of what Elvis and Cash and and all those guys were doing, and Jerry Lee Lewis and Chuck Berry. It, like, these guys took it, they went international with it. They came from over the pond, and it was like this Beatlemania. Yeah, I long for those days again, when a group can explode like that onto the scene, and create such a shockwave through the universe, through your everyday life, where people's that music changed people's lives. It
Oh yeah.
and that's what I yearn for that. I yearn for that, when that keeps coming back with new music, and getting introduced to new bands, and having that fire lit, with a desire, to listen to that. Like, you're like, oh my, the first time you hear a band, something that's influential to you, or really strikes you, your soul, you're like, I need more of this. I need more.
Yeah. some more. Yeah.
It becomes a bit of an obsession, I think, because and I think that's the great thing with music that will never like fade away is it's like you can always go back and listen to it, and you can get that energy again by listening to it over and over again. I love that about music.
Oh yeah.
So we were talking. You're hopefully going to do a European tour at some point, and then hopefully a U.S. tour.
Yeah, we're gonna do some select tours for right now. We're definitely gonna release some vinyl coming up. We do have about 8 to 9 mini videos circling around. So if you can go to Stone Deep, the YouTube channel for Stone Deep Nashville, and find that. And we're just gonna keep plugging, having fun with it. Like I said, I'm doing a lot of interviews right now. I'm trying to reconnect and like get like nice group of people to like just be in our little matrix. So that's kind of where we're at right now.
Hell yeah, man, that's awesome. No, that's great, and it's I'm looking forward. Whatever you guys got coming up, I'm looking forward to it. I'm excited for you what you guys are doing. I think it's awesome, and it sounds good, and it's I like the groove, I like the beats, and everybody's just doing their thing on the album. So yeah, it's great. I got the cassette that you guys just put out, and Glenn sent it out with a patch and some stickers, and then he wrote me a nice little handwritten note inside there, which is cool. So shout out to him too for facilitating this.
Right. Shout out to Glenn. I'm gonna shout out my band so we don't, in case I forgot. We got Dave Howard that's on drums. We got Tim Brooks that's on bass. Terry Hayes, DJ. Glenn Cummings, guitar. And I am Ronzo The Beast, and I'm lead vocals.
Hell yeah.
And we are Stone Deep.
Hell yeah. And yeah, like them on social media. Go on Instagram, follow them. Check them out, see what they're doing. I love it because you guys, everybody interacts with the fans on there, and and that's what's great of with social media, those platforms where you don't have to have, like I said, you don't have to have a phone call, but a quick little interaction with somebody or a text message, through Messenger or whatever. That's a positive thing. You're connecting with somebody and you're throwing out some positive energy, interacting with them, and that's what keeps the ball rolling, keeps things going.
Oh yeah, like let's all hook up, let's sync up. You know what I mean? Let's just keep this thing going. Like this is the new underground revival, so we just gotta we all just gotta find each other. I just think it's just we're all out here waiting to find each other, and we're now starting to do it.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, because it's taken me. I just turned 44 this year, and it's taken me 42 years to like kind of start figuring like shit out. Like I've always I got 4 kids. I married. I got my wife. We've been together for like 24 years, and I was young when we had our first child. She was a little bit older than me, and it was all good, but like having kids and dealing with that and growing up and trying to figure out how to raise a family. And then after the kids, my youngest just turned 18 and graduated high school. So everybody's out of the house pretty much and working. Yeah. But what's funny is we're going on vacation in 2 weeks, and they're all coming with us. And I my wife said to me the other day, she's like, do you think they're ever like going to not come with us? Or I said, I don't know. I said, maybe not. I said, do you want that? And she's like, not really. And I said, neither do I. But she's like, yeah, it is nice to have like, her and I will do like we'll shoot up to like New Hampshire. We're like 2.5 hours away from the seacoast on New Hampshire. So, we'll blast up there for a night or something just to get out of town. But I said, yeah, you know what? I said, there's going to come a time when they're all like, in 4 different directions and can't connect with us and do that. So, I said, let's just savor it. Just savor that time.
And you know when that happens, you know what song's gonna play, and I'm gonna set it up for you. Cats in the Cradle and the Silver Spoon.
That's right.
The Man in the Moon. When you coming home, son, I don't know when, but we can get together then. We're gonna have a good time then.
Cat Stevens. Yep. And you know what? That song, that's another song, whether it's Cat Stevens singing it or when Ugly Kid Joe redid it. I don't. You remember when they redid that? That was probably like what, mid '90s,
yeah,
late '90s, and it was like, oh my god, like a song that I knew from because my parents would play all types of music and stuff, and it was like, oh my god, that song right there just reconnected with a whole nother generation.
Sure did. Music never gets out. I mean, that's a magnificent song.
It is. Yeah, it's that one touches your soul. It really does, because it's like, oh yeah, the father got older, and then the kid didn't have time, and it's like, oh my god, I turned into my
I turned into my parents.
Yeah. And not that that's a bad thing at times. Like I have, I'm fortunate. Both of my folks are still alive, and my dad gave me the gift of conversation. Like, I can go into any place, anytime, pretty much anywhere. I can read the room, and I can have a conversation with just about everybody in that room, and it's going to be a different conversation with every person. I'm fortunate that I can do that. Like, my father's got somewhat of a sixth sense, this weird thing where he kind of knows stuff ahead of time, and he's mentioned it to me. And, he sees, and has talked to like spirits and,
right,
stuff like that. So, and I feel I have a connection there too, because I find myself too. I talk to past loved ones or friends or whatever, because I feel that energy is still there.
Right.
And when you connect with somebody and they die, I say that the piece of you, a small piece of you, goes with them. A little bit of you dies with that loved one or friend or whoever, and they take that with them. And I think that's what keeps that connection with them. And
right.
I'll sit down at night and like clear my head and have to do like a meditation, maybe for a minute or 2 minutes or whatever. But it's like, at times I can feel, other energy with me and kind of guiding me and just being there.
Yeah, I feel like I know I'm guided by my ancestors. I can't talk to them, but I can see them sometimes.
Yeah, like there's like you just know, and I've never felt uncomfortable about any of that stuff, or to me it's like it's a reassuring thing, knowing that energy's there, and it's coming back to you in a positive way. Because I think I feel like everybody's kind of watching down, whether they're still here or whatever in the ether of the universe or whatever you want to call it. And hopefully they can help you guide you, in decisions and stuff throughout your life. And I don't know. That's just my weird hippie take on that. But yeah, I don't know what do you guys got going on now? Everybody's kind of in separate areas, and you guys are getting ready to do some.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say you guys are getting ready to get some stuff out, some vinyl and stuff. And is anybody working on any other projects outside the band?
No, I think so. We're just gearing up to do some select shows. I've written probably another half an album already, so we might get together probably in the winter time and start writing on those. But we have a lot of music to release. We're gonna release every single thing we've ever done, and it's some really good stuff. Some of it people maybe never heard before, and some of it they have heard. So we're just going to focus on getting that out right now, making sure getting some good vinyl out, and that's a big thing. And we got a lot of artwork and stuff we want on our shirts and merchandise and stuff. So and reconnect. I think we're at a huge reconnection, just like today's podcast with you.
Yep.
I think that's my main focus right now is just reconnecting the underground and letting them know that we're here, and then letting you tell, go out and spread the word, and we all chain it back together.
Well, you're gonna get some more shout outs, and I know a couple of my friends that I've been working with, that have kind of mentored me on with the podcast and how to not how to do things, but just how I'm going to do things, and directions I'm going in. I know they're listening or will listen because so I stream live on this channel, but I'm on like 15 different podcast sites. I'm on Apple, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Google, you name them. So it's, once this thing goes, after we go live, it gets published, and then it starts getting shared, and we'll see there'll be some people, probably hitting you up on Instagram.
Hey, come on, man. Anybody that want to, vibe with Stone Deep, man, everybody's welcome. We don't have any, we're here for everybody. We're here for, one united rock underground. So, I mean, more the merrier.
That's right. Everybody's welcome. And I want to ask you, what is there any new music of anybody right now, or anything that's got you fired up that might be coming out, or something you heard recently?
No. I'm kind of sad about it. I'm really digging around for something cool and maybe the old stuff coming back. There's a couple of bands that seem like they're gonna put out some new stuff. I'm kind of looking forward to seeing 90s bands, 2000 bands put their brand of music back out and kind of rejuvenate what's going on.
Yeah, because there, like we were saying before, that 90s 2000 era. There's something about those musicians, the way that they put stuff out. There was a lot of heart, there was a lot of soul put into it, and yeah, I'm looking forward to for some new stuff to come out to really energize what people need, connect them, whatever it might be. But yeah, not the cookie cutter. And it's funny because we were talking about country music, and you put on the country radio now, all those musicians sound the same.
Well, they are the same. I mean, half the time they're just using studio guys, and now they've kicked all the country guys out, and they're using rock musicians, pop rock musicians to do country. It's just I was born here, so I can tell you when it's real country, and when they threw a bunch of guys together and they just mopped together a couple of songs and threw it together. So it's just no, we need to bring the artistry back,
Yeah.
I'm not picking on anybody. I'm saying every genre. Country is just laying the egg. Hip hop is laying the egg. I'm so not happy right now, but it's it'll all. Like I said, it'll all reset. All of it will.
It will. And you know what? I'm going to give a shout out to a friend of mine. If you haven't checked him out, Ricardo Grimm.
Okay.
He just put out an album. It's called Savior Isn't Coming. And it's a musical journey. It's something else. And I think you would like it because he speaks from the heart on what he's doing, and he's a really good guy, and I'm just giving him a shout out because he's a friend, and his.
Okay, I check him out. Yeah, I add him to my IG too.
Yeah, he's good. He's good people, and he's got a great his message. His music connected to me, and that's what kind of kicked my ass into gear in doing this podcast. He was super supportive of me and, what I had going on, and, kind of lifted me up. So yeah, it's good stuff, but yeah, it's, I'm looking forward to that more just that underground feel coming back, people going to shows, like you said, the smaller venues, and people connecting and having a good time. And, that was the best thing about those small shows. It's like, even if there was 50 people there,
right.
That's
how you need it.
That's it. And when I took to the last show we went to, there was maybe 150 people there, and it was like, okay. And I said to them when we left, I said, out of the 150 or 200 people that were there, I said, we were there. I said, could you imagine not going to that show tonight? And they're like, yeah, I know. Like they connected with the singer from Tree, and they were talking about skateboarding and BMX and all this stuff. And, it's like you, if you guys weren't there, you wouldn't have had that connection. You wouldn't have had the talk, and, you wouldn't have made friends with whoever you made friends with. Like, it's just, and I feel like with the way society is now, with the computers and video games and all that shit, it kind of put a set of blinders on the younger crowd.
Yeah, they're disconnected from just humanizing or socializing. Like, socializing is just a huge disconnection right now. Like, they seen that show and they met the band, and I mean, that's an irreplaceable memory,
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, like this Friday, we're going down to New Jersey to go see Metallica, and and I told they had never seen Metallica before. I said, well, you know what? I said we should do this. So my wife surprised us with tickets last year, and we got hell of a deal on them, and it was great. And so I get to take them down to New Jersey. It's like a 2.5 hour ride to go see Metallica Friday night. Like,
there's some influence they are actually the loudest band I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, you know who I lost hearing to? Iron Maiden. My brother in 2000 they were doing I think it was the Y2 Chaos tour, when it was right before 2000, when the internet was going to crash and society was just going to fall apart from Y2K, right?
Y2K.
Yeah, Y2K, look out. Everything's going to fucking fall apart. So my wife's like, hey, Iron Maiden's playing with Queensryche and Rob Halford from Judas Priest.
Oh my God! Operation Mindcrime is one of my favorite albums for Queensryche.
Oh my God, those guys! And what's crazy is their producer, who's been producing them for like the last 10 or 15 years, is from my area here. Wow. And he's always in the studio with these guys and sharing up their stuff. But Jeff Tate, singer from Queensryche. Oh man, what a unbelievable musician. Unbelievable. His vocal range is just,
it is ridiculous. Yeah.
But you think about all those, him, Halford from Priest, Bruce Dickinson from Iron Maiden, like those guys, and they're still out there doing it. Like,
I know, right?
That's what, like, these guys are in their 60s. They're in their 60s. Like, these guys, some of them, Rob's probably touching 70. But it's like, holy shit. And then it's like, even like Ozzy, like, I love fucking Ozzy. And then it's like, okay, he's, slowing down. Now he's not touring. He was going to do a show. Then he had to pull off it. And I'm like, oh my God. Like, what, like, this is like Ozzy. Like, what's going to happen when he doesn't do it anymore? Or, the inevitable happens. And it's like, you're not going to have another Black Sabbath.
Oh, that's it. Yeah, there's not going to be another one of those.
And
they can only try to imitate from going forward.
And that kills me too. Like, to think about that, it's like, oh my God, we're not gonna be able to ever hear him do another album or sing or, have a one-off performance or small performance somewhere, it's like, oh shit. Like, okay, you gotta kind of, I don't know, for me, you kind of emotionally prepare for that when you hear, an artist's health isn't doing well, and like, okay, like you got to get ready for that because, those, again, because you make the connection with them through the music or, their lyrics, and it's like they pass on, and it's like, oh my God, it takes a little bit to process that, I think.
Right.
But yeah, man, I don't know, I don't know how to thank you for coming on and doing this. I do appreciate it. And, and for Glenn making the connection and getting us together on this.
Man, it's absolutely a pleasure to be here. Man, you do your thing. I hope everything goes good and your energy spreads around as far as it can spread, bro.
And I appreciate that. I truly do. And, at some point, when things start getting picking up with you guys, if you want to have another chat, I'm more than happy to have another talk with you. And get the word out for you guys and what you're doing.
Oh yeah, I mean, we're gonna do some more work, and then right about the summertime, we're gonna pick up touring, and we'll have albums out, and we can come back and discuss that kind of stuff.
Hell yeah! No, I love
more music. Seems like me and you listen to the same stuff, so.
Yeah, the music thing, that to me, connecting on all that stuff is great, because I just, like, I can't imagine being stuck in one genre of music your entire life and not listening to anything else that's out there.
It's a abomination. It's a handicap. Like, I don't know. I could never do that. I listen to so much music over the years, and I know so much music, and I love all kinds of different music. It's just, I don't know. It fills your soul up.
It does, and it's like every mood, I think, requires different music.
Right.
Like, there's something, if you're feeling depressed, maybe you'll put on Van Morrison, or maybe, for me, like I like Led Zeppelin. Like, I love Led Zeppelin. So, like, and one of my favorite albums is not like one of their biggest successfully, is In Through the Outdoor. Which is because of there's so much like groove and there's like funk in it, and there's, a little bit of disco, and it's like,
right.
and you can hear them all just having fun. Like, it was just like I love that kind of music. And when I'm feeling down, I'll be like, yeah, I'm going to pop this on. Like, okay, listen to John Bonham on the drums, just fucking killing it. And, Jimmy playing guitar, and then Plant starts singing. It's like, all right, this is cool.
Yeah. And before I get off here, I do want to say this. Like, I think at some point, we got to get back to the 4.5, 5-minute song, or the 4:20. Like, the fact that pop music has cut everybody down to 3 minutes and 20 seconds or less.
Yes.
Actually, like, stifled music.
Yeah, they're making musicians conform to what they want, because, this is what you have to have for radio air. You can't have like when Queen did frickin' Bohemian Rhapsody. Oh, you can't have a 7-minute song. The fuck you, I can't. I'm gonna have a 7-minute song, and to me, those songs where artists jam on a song for like 7-8 minutes, it's like you feel that. Like, you can like, you're just, and then you start, maybe improvising a bit, and then it's the back and forth, and it's like, okay. And anybody that's fortunate enough to see that show, it's like, those are some of the best moments at shows, is when musicians do that. Like, that's what you want. I don't want the 2-minute and 25-second song, or the 3-minute song, and like, oh yeah, it quick poppy, like, okay. Like, that just sounded like everything else. I just,
in this cloud of dust, I want Sympathy for the Devil. You know what I mean?
Yes.
I want that with the ride out and the breaks and everything. You know what I mean? The bridges and the improvise and the backgrounds and the, come on, man. We
And
gotta bring it back. That's another thing we're looking at. Just bringing back some longer, music. Just more musicianship.
yeah, hell yeah, that's what it's all about. And I'll add to that too is when the artist, you start doing vocal harmonies, and carrying that through the songs and changing up the vocal harmony, like to me that's it's intoxicating when singers and musicians do that. It's because it pulls you in, and it keeps you there, and it keeps you engaged with what they're doing. And yeah, man, I'm all about the long songs, so that's music to my ears. I love that.
Right. Well, it's been a pleasure talking to you, my man.
Yeah, buddy. Well, let's I is there anything that you want to plug, or you got your Instagram, Stone Deep Nashville,
Yeah,
and
that's about it. Instagram. You can check us out on YouTube, Stone Deep Nashville. You can go to the Stone Deep store to get merchandise. We got bandanas and cassettes and some really, really amazing T-shirts. And just that's about it, man. Just look out for us. If you get on Instagram, say hey. Keep up with us. I really love to know where people are from.
okay.
Also, so if somebody hit us up on it, tell us where you're from. I'm really interested in where people are at, and just vibing with them on that too.
Hell yeah,
That's
man.
about it.
All right. Well, hey, I appreciate you taking your time out of your night. Sorry about the time zone thing. It's funny because I never even thought about that. And I'm like, yeah, we're going live at 7. Like, you're like, oh shit, it's not 7 yet though. What the hell? But no, it's all good, man. And that's
Okay.
yeah, it worked out well, and we had a great conversation. And I appreciate you. I appreciate what you and your band are doing. Appreciate the music you guys are making, and I appreciate you coming on here and sharing your story and rapping with me on that.
All right, man. I will talk to you later. This is not the last time we'll talk, and I will stay in touch. Okay.
All right, sounds good. Thanks again, Ronzo. I appreciate it.
All right. Peace out.
Later. Have a good night. All right, everyone. That was Ronzo the Beast Cartwright. This is Chewy's Road to Enlightenment. I want to thank everybody that tuned in, that listened. If you're not doing this live and you log on and you listen to this, give these guys a follow. Show them some love. Tell them where you're from. They're a bunch of good dudes making some great music. And it's got a great beat to it, a great groove, and I enjoy it and I love it. And I suggest you guys go check it out. Stone Deep Nashville, Ronzo the Beast Cartwright, Booze and Whoville. Have a good night, everyone.